week season?
Yeah, you had one more semester with your college team, right?
Yeah, no, I still have one more semester with college.
Oh, you still have one more. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's going well so far. We haven't really done anything. Just been solo practicing and everything. So been focusing more on school and stuff like that.
Okay, good. How's the school going?
It's going well.
The have you streamlined your major? Like, do you know where what you're trying to get now, or
Yep.
that's good. So it took me a long time to realize. I kind of went to college having no idea, which I'm sure there a lot of people are like that, but it definitely benefits you if you have an idea what you want, and then you can start going for it. Because by the time I figured it out, even though it was second semester, by the time I was like, okay, here's what I want to do, and they're like, well, that course, that major, you need to start with this course, and that course is only offered in fall. And I was like, okay, all right, so I literally have to wait a whole nother year to get here because they want you on like a very specific A to B to C to D path. And I was like, what about, this like whole bunch of APs I did? Like, can I just jump in and, catch up? Nope, you got to take this course before you can take that one. And basically it put me on a spot where I needed 5 years to finish. And I was like, come on now. I'll just learn this. I'll just learn it fast. I'll learn it faster. I'll show you guys. All right, so we're gonna go over this the game. So you got a chance to watch it, right?
Yep.
Did you have initial feedback that you wanna go over, or questions, or I was gonna just run the tape again and go over
No, we can
things.
just run the tape and I can just bring up things when I saw it. Like, it was only like three really big points that I just like saw that it kind of just shocked me. Like one with the Gragas, one with the Helios Flash, and then that whole mismatch fight with the Baron, which was really weird.
The one where they were
And then
going
like
left and right.
yeah, they were just
That
messing around with Renekton,
that
and I
one was
guess like
so
that
cool.
one Nautilus thing.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So we'll go over them, and you can point out. So this state of the game. This is right after. You can see my screen. Let me actually share my screen rather than
Okay,
make you.
yeah. I was just watching the Twitch, but yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a lot better.
Yeah. This is better. This is instantaneous. All right. So the backdrop is this is Live Sandbox versus T1. Teddy played for T1. He actually came up through Sandbox, went to T1, and then came back. The knock on him was that he was too much of a hyper scaling carry, that he couldn't play tempo very well. And
What does that
Gumayusi,
mean?
that he had too much to work on as far as winning the game on two items. He basically he's maybe the best Ezreal, and I think they actually referenced it here. I'm positive that they did. Atlas said Teddy is the best end game carry that we have ever seen, maybe in the world. So he's including Gumayusi in that list and Ruler, and he's saying Teddy's even better. So as far
Ah, so
as
he's like really good at endgame, but he just to get there he isn't able to end the games until end. Yeah.
on four items, he's exceptional at moving around, dealing the maximum, taking the minimum, right, and getting everything. But he just doesn't know where that line is on two items. And so, for example, as a Lucian player, it's very important to know that you can go E Gale Force Q auto alt, right? Like you just need to be able to do that. You
Yeah,
need to
yeah, yeah.
go double dash, boom, burst my damage, and then start kiting around with the R. And Teddy just isn't the type of player to even look for it. And so that's something that they liked about Guma, that he could scale. He was pretty good. Also, much better on one and two items. So they're happy. And all through Worlds, they fed him Lucian, right? They just kept on going for Nami Lucian because they were happy with how he would play it, how aggressively he would go. So in this state, they had stolen the Baron 3 minutes ago. They got some amount of turrets down, but you can see not very many. All three of the inners are still up for T1, but they've got a 2,000 gold lead for themselves. So they definitely, you can see in the gold graph that it just like jumped right here. Nocturne
Oh yeah,
jumped
that
over the wall.
shocked me seeing that.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts to see that steal. So from here, if you're the Zeri, I'm going to put everything in perspective. You're the AD carry. What are you trying to accomplish with 3 minutes to go, thinking that your team. Well, first off, how close are you to winning?
Honestly, I can't say too much about Zeri right now because the build that he's using for it, the Trinity one, I have no really good experience on that. And just seeing as how he takes like a lot of time to try to get to the tanks and even struggling to get to the back line, it's just like I really don't know how he's supposed to do much of that. But like he does have like a lot of free way to just roam and do whatever, not roam, but just run around these tanks and do what he wants with them because they really can't touch him unless he lets them, or unless like they get like a really cheeky flash pick off with the Azir or like a Gragas or maybe even the Scion ult from downtown.
Yeah, it is going to take them some time to mow down the front line, especially because Sion and Gragas are so tanky. To that point, that's the reason why I bought Runon's Hurricane. All right, Runon's is best when the other team has two tanks.
Okay. Like I was watching it and I just never saw it. I don't know if I was expecting something a lot more or if what, but I didn't see anything that made me think this is the build to go. Like, yeah, he's really beefy and tanky, but like aside from that, I didn't see too much. But then again,
It's
I maybe I didn't see something.
so right now the Sheen iteration is gone from all Zeri builds, so the Triforce build is much worse. It's not completely dead. I would say the actual best build is the AP one with Static Shiv and Night Harvester. She just absolutely pops people. And this is, I think, this is my own aside, but I think Freak, you know who Freak is, David Turley,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I swear, I've heard him cast on stream before. This has been broken for so long, and it took pros this long to figure it out. I wonder how good something would have to be before it made it to pro if it were on a bad champion. Or so he made a comment to those ends. And I swear that he's in the basement at Riot Studios just like cackling and putting his fingers together, be like, they didn't realize that Static Shiv was broken for like 6 weeks and only now are they getting it. Like, I'm gonna nerf the shit out of it and it's still gonna be OP and we'll see who picks it up. And like Nashor's Tooth has been getting buffed and buffed and buffed, and so now you can have this synergy. What I think is that his computer simulation, he has an algorithm for every damage point for every champion with every build. Okay, it's like a chart, and it shows
You
what
think
they're.
he does or he does?
He does. He
Oh,
he used to post it. This is how he got the job as the Riot Balance developer, because he made this content. Okay, so he constantly has a graph of like what are the damage breakthrough points, which items, where at what point does every champion clear a wave, and he has it down to a science. Okay, so I'm fairly certain this is an aside, but I'm fairly certain that he's trying to make a Nashor's Tooth Rageblade meta for Zeri or for anyone, but specifically those
I
two
was
items.
thinking about that too when I saw the Nashor's tooth getting buffed. I was thinking with that new Kaisa build that's been going around, maybe like she could even do something with that because I've seen some
Yep.
people like take her AP now with the static, I think,
Yeah.
or it was something that like she procced really hard off of AP.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the one. And it's worth noting that I don't know how much you read patch notes, but
Barely.
for the past year, they've just been giving champions a 30% AP ratio here and there. They're just like, let's just give them like a little bit of an AP ratio on a champion that never builds AP, right? So they're just like, they've been sneaking that in there to the point where Nashor's Tooth is actually going to give champions much more spell burst and ability. So, anyways, that aside, it did show up in the LCS last night. Who played it? Berserker played Night Harvester and Nashor's. Not Nashor's. He went Static Shiv, Night Harvester, and he didn't go Nashor's. And I think he could have, but anyways, it's already there. People are talking about it. But this build, all right, the reason that he's Runon's Hurricane is because it's two tanks, and that's what he's
Yeah,
looking for.
Hurricane, Titanic. I can see why those two synergize.
Yeah,
Definitely. Like I know why the build like why it exists. I just don't like I never see it doing what it's supposed to do sometimes,
yeah.
especially not in this game at least.
All right. First thing I want to point out: did you see how he just threw two Qs out to the
Oh yeah,
sides?
definitely. Just trying
Okay.
to charge up his autos or his the thingy.
Well, it's going to
Tap.
serve it's going to serve two purposes, not just for filling up his bar, but
Mhm.
specifically he's not throwing it at the wave.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is because of the position on the side waves, he wants to let his solo laners move up. Also, he wants to wait to stack waves to let Nocturne and Nautilus move into the jungle together.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've actually been doing that a bit more recently myself, where a friend of mine was saying, "Hey, you're not lasting them properly," and in my head I was like, "Yeah, I'm lasting as soon as I can, or as late as I can." But now I just found out that I can do it even just a little bit later. It's been having a huge, crazy effect on the waves. So I'm actually managing to free waves or
perfect.
freeze waves every like 2 out of 10 times.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I mean, it's progress to get those 10, but right now the objective isn't to freeze. The
Yeah,
objective
it's
is
just
a
to
slow
match with the
push.
other lanes, just to
Right.
make sure you don't get,
So,
jumped like
all right,
that.
so that's good that you noticed that. So he's going to go, and only once the next waves start coming up is he going to start pushing this out, and he's going to use his actual auto attack, like the left mouse button, to get these last hits to make sure that he's not spraying. Now he does spray this one. I think he made a mistake there. He thought that he needed to use the Q. It would have been even better to just wait. But now that he waited for this wave and burst it down, Aphelios never got to approach the wave. And now Zeri has Prio, Nocturne's in the river, Nautilus is in position, and it even gave some free time to Renekton. Now I am going to talk about a lot of mistakes that Birdall made here. But as far as Teddy's job, he's doing it fantastically. Okay, so you've won access to the next wave before the other AD carry. What's next? What should Teddy do?
Probably just play back a little bit, waiting for some opportunity. At least that's what I would do, or seeing what the next objective is, because just staying out like here is very dangerous. Or at least like being next to a wall to just eat towards like maybe the top side of the map.
Yeah, so Zeri's a special case, kind of like Ezreal, but even safer. Being in mid lane, she has 4 routes of escape at all times. Basically, she can go in any direction, but she can put a wall between herself and any sort of gank attempt, so she's not really in danger. There is one very wrong play, and unfortunately, she makes it. Do you remember what it is?
No, I don't.
So she ends up moving into the southern quadrant here. All right, and there's a lot wrong with this. The team has just invested all their time and energy into getting vision in the western quadrant. You've got 3 champions here that all have jumping potential, right? Ari can dash in for fights, Nautilus can Q in, and then Nocturne has his ultimate. You could catch people in this quadrant all day long. So Zeri should be looking to come over and then reinforce this area for her team and help them to gain more vision control so that this becomes a home base for red team and not for blue team. Blue team's doing the opposite. They're saying, all right, it's only a Renekton that's been down here. We're going to just hold on to some one little bit of vision here to see if they're rotating. But apart from that, we don't really care about the southern quadrant because Baron's in 2 minutes 16 seconds. We don't want to waste any of our vision here. They want to kind of fight for the vision on the western quadrant. Right now, they're not allowed to. All right, so T1 knows that this is death. You'll see that Azir is hugging turret, Aphelios is hugging turret, because they know that there could be a Nocturne and a Nautilus coming at them from the western quadrant. Got it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I've noticed at least like I probably didn't notice it in this case as much, but I have been noticing that the other ADC the didn't play towards the team at that one point, which caught me off, but also
Well,
made me realize that I got to play with the team more.
it's all about the team. Now look at this. Teddy coming over here. Look at what Nocturne and Nautilus had to do. They had to go and
Yeah,
they had to chase her. Okay, and not only that, but Renekton's not even in a good position to help because he had left the wave. So this is an extremely greedy play by Teddy that ends up losing them tons and tons of pressure. Okay, because they had to leave the western quadrant to come to back her up. And whether or not she gets the red, like it's red buff is nice, and ever since you can get 2 red buffs now in the end game, it's really nice. But still, it's not worth giving up all the work that you did.
yeah, all that tempo was just gone, like all that pressure there on the top side, and now Azir's just going around cleaning it up.
Exactly. So look at Azir. Azir pushed out the turret. We're watching Azir right now. They use the Scryer's Bloom, especially since it's this map. It's insanely strong. You don't want to leave this quadrant at all on Chemtech map because all of these Scryer's Blooms are going to light up the entire jungle. Azir just cleared out this entire section, and after this wave, would even have access to another Scryer's Bloom. And it's
Yeah,
all
for
because
free.
Zeri greeted for this. And honestly, her red is already coming up. So she could have gotten this one instead. So I will call this a blunder. This is a like colossal misplay. All right, and this allows Aphelios to get their wave in. Now that they've cleared some vision, Aphelios is also going to pick up a wolf camp for themselves. Now this time she doesn't stall the wave. This time she fast pushes it, and it's because red buff is up. Okay, and
Yeah.
also the team is recalling, so that part, check plus. Okay, closer right here on Ari is making a little bit of a mistake relative to where everybody else is. Now it could be that they want to spend Rabadon's money. Okay, so they're really trying to get exactly enough to finish it. And if that's the case, then it's totally okay to push this wave in. That's kind of the exception to a tempo loss, is when you can make up for it immediately with your shop. All right, and there she goes. She picks up Rabadons. So this wave, she pushed it in, it just gave it to the Azir. Whereas she could have held it hostage further up. But because she has an item, a major item to complete, it's very, very worth it.
Right. Gotcha.
All right, so now we're getting closer to a standoff. It's 113. This wave is coming in. We're going to have another wave colliding at mid with 43 seconds left for Baron, and another one that's colliding mid with 13 seconds left to Baron. So how do you want to approach this as Zeri?
Can you set the timers again?
There's 113 until Baron, and
Okay.
so you're going to have another wave coming, and then one more that will come. And that third one is basically spawning. By the time anyone clears it, Baron will be up. But it is important to note that it's coming up before Baron, and that's gonna take a huge role in what happens in this game. Okay, so what are you trying to do as Zeri? Well, first I'll tell you what the teammates are looking at. Ari just recalled. She just shopped. Renekton is deciding to go back bot to fight for another wave. This is because he had pushed this one earlier and then gone to get his blue buff. So now Gragas is actually pushing with 2 waves right now. Renekton doesn't ever want to leave 2 waves alone while sieging for the Baron, because those 2 waves will become 3 waves and it'll actually break this turret. Okay, so as a top laner, they're coming down to fix this wave. Nautilus and Nocturne still have control of the vision of the river, mostly, but they did have to give a lot up because of Ari leaving. Okay? So, with all that information in hand, how are you approaching this as Zeri? There's 3 more waves to chew through.
Honestly, at this moment, I'm thinking of just hard shoving this wave and walking with the support, and I think that's the jungler to try to get vision in the top side.
Brilliant. Love it, dude. Nice job. You've come a long way. You were not thinking that way a year ago.
Thank you.
I love it. So, yeah, you're pushing this in. The cannon wave is going to take them longer to clear. And because you've given up some of the control of Western Quadrant, you want it back. And specifically, Ari's in Fog. Nocturne and Nautilus have some amount of protection of vision, but they'd like to go get more in this area. And it's tough to face check against Scion, and walking into Azir Aphelios is kind of tough because they're so long range. So absolutely, even regardless of champions, pushing this out and helping your team to regain this control is a big deal. All right, Nautilus just came out of base. He's replenished all of his wards. So very, very nicely done. So Teddy does the same thing. Hard shove, and they move into the Western Quadrant. Now Nautilus might try to get one ward in the lane, all right, like right around here, replacing the turret. This ward is very nice. It's not really your job as a carry to do it, but if they don't and you have access, it can be nice.
Right, of course.
But basically, he's doing that to see if enemy team transitions. Now, she's also looking to get one more shop off, all right? She's got 1,300 gold. She wants to get maximum amount of strength. Why is she doing it now as opposed to waiting?
Because Baron's gonna come up soon?
Yeah, time's up, right? Like,
Yeah.
at this point, I don't care if you have a longsword in base. The difference would be if you can't get anything that makes an impact at all, then yeah, you just want to sit here and help your team to get this extra vision, right? But you can back off. She gets a decent item, 25 AD. It's not the end of the world. The extra, like, the clearing wave part of it does nothing for them. So they kind of lost. There was an opportunity cost for picking this item up. You understand? Just she had to leave. It meant that Nocturne and Nautilus had to play a little bit more passively. And I can't tell. No, she did not get an elixir. If this were the game, I'd rather see a lesser item purchased, like a stopwatch, and an elixir. because this is clearly where the game's going to boil down. And this is the mistake that Teddy's making. Okay? Not enough urgency on what's happening right now. Now, because they come out, because they took that shop,
Hmm.
Nautilus and Nocturne had to back out. That meant that Scion was able to move into this area. It means Aphelios is able to push up. You see how there's like a domino effect to
Right.
leaving?
Yeah.
No, I really like what she does here, saying, and then she ruins it. Where she like holds the wave for a moment. She actually could have had her wave stack here, and then they actually could have held a wave right before Baron and stacked it on their side of the map and created a double stack of minions to go into mid as they go to Baron. So this is another missed opportunity. All right, this one I won't call it a blunder the way that moving towards the southern quadrant was, but this is a miss. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now here it
Mhm.
should be a similar thing. Kill most of the damage. She's doing it kind of wrong. You're not supposed to go for the 3
Yeah, it's
melees.
just the range, right?
Go for the range because those are the ones that deal more damage. You'd rather that your wave gum up on these ones. I'm glad that you kept that one. So this is fine. All right, gumming it up, creating a little bit of a sway. Ari's moving into position. Now, if this weren't the Chemtech map, this might be okay. Because it's Chemtech, there's way too much vision and mobility amongst champions where it's hard to create this like stalled out flanking scenario. Also, I'm just not a huge fan of Ari being here in general. Your team's working towards controlling Western Quadrant. I think the idea for T1, or what they think T1 is going to do, is fight for this wave, and they want to create the fight right here, right now. That's what they're kind of holding this wave for, and they're hoping that Ari has a way in. If that's the call, 100% you wanted to stagnate the wave back here, right?
Yeah, 1000%.
So what ends up happening is Gragas actually jumps right on top of the Ari because of this blast cone. He's able to get right on top, and this kind of blows up the whole play. And you'll see how this ends up backfiring. Zeri comes over finally to help with the Western Quadrant vision, but now you've given up control of the middle of the map. Okay, and this is what loses them all the momentum. They had the lead for two
Yeah,
and a
they're
half
split.
minutes. Now they're split, and this is expert by T1. All right, and if we change our shoes and put on Gumayusi, what did he do? Tower hug, tower hug, tower hug. Wait for my team to get here in numbers, and then we're going to wedge into their position. All right, wedge. If you think of it like driving a stake in, they're going hard and fast in one direction to like muscle people out. This is separating Renekton from Ari from the team. So fantastically done by them. Very specifically, Azir has a consequential effect here with the turret.
Yeah,
So
this really like scared me when they did this because like as much as like you were talking about the wedge, they also just put themselves between the two people, like 4 people, and then the one Renekton in there, which we that's dangerous in my
it
opinion. But
it is, but when we
they
talked about it
managed to
like
make it
two
work
and a
with
half,
Azir there, yeah.
you got to push Renekton so far out, and look, he's even chunked. Right, Azir was able to get tons of extra damage, and they were able to hit the wave some. So this like front to back with an Azir turret, they're totally strong enough here. Okay, and this is because Renekton is at 60% and moved away from the team. So LSB can try to make this happen, but there's no minions for Renekton to get a double dash off. Right, so he's gonna have to flash double E if he wants to get in, which really limits how far he can go. Also, you have a Scion and a Gragas, so you're just happy. Look at this position. You see
Mm-hmm.
this? This is wonderfully done by them. Okay, they're holding this battle line. Azir, you have carries with front to back. You just keep yourself positioned. You see he's keeping these bodyguards between him. So
Yeah.
incredibly difficult for someone like a Nautilus to get. Now, if Nautilus really wanted to get the hard engage, he could go Q onto Gragas and then ult the Guma. But like double tank plus Yumi plus a zero wall, very, very difficult for them to actually get on you. Yes, it looks scary, but this is where you have to kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable. And this is the difference between Guma and Teddy. Teddy is seemingly incapable of this play. Guma is, and you're going to be. And this is the difference because when we get this standoff, look, Azir doing his job, fighting for the wave. They're good, they're good. But because they came in here together, Now they actually get the prio in mid. They get to move over to Dragon or to the topside river for Baron side. And being the first ones here as a team has exponential consequences. The rest of the time now, you see LSB has lost all their vision. All of their vision was focused on stopping T1 from coming in from base. It didn't stop them from coming in from river. And so
Right.
now they actually have no lingering vision here. So this is a gambit that T1 is doing as a team. Now, I don't expect you to rely on your teammates to have this, but it is a point that you can bring up with your college team at the very least. And if you do get tryouts for amateur leagues, this is what you want to bring this to the table, right? You want to say like, I understand this, and I will move with my team in these positions. And again, look at Guma's position, right? Boom, letting Scion and Gragas be like this. How do I want to call it? Paragons of armor for him, bodyguards left and right.
Right.
Now, this is probably the single best part of it, and really where Berdal like really overcommitted. I think he's panicking. He didn't like how far back he got pushed here. He went to the right, felt like he needed to teleport to make this play happen. Ultimate being used. Look how they go and approach him. They say, okay, well, your ultimate's not good enough to stop a 5v1, right? So they actually aggress onto him. That forces him back, and now that he's far away with no ultimate and nothing to dash on to get double dash, now they can go take the 5v4.
Yeah.
Okay. Now if you're the Teddy in this situation, you have to accept some amount of risk and actually try to get your team to reposition in this area. Otherwise, Renekton has no prayer. All right, this moving away, I think their call is just full retreat, but you're going to see that they just don't have the tools for it.
Yeah, no, I was watching this and it just like frustrated me to see there because like they just you know walked back and forth the entire time. Like yeah, the Renekton was like caught on that little position there, but like I felt like they could have like engaged or did something with that Nocturne ult there, especially with how like Zeri ult works with the Qs and everything.
Yeah.
The only thing I could really see that jump in the Zeri there would be the Azir or Gragas, and if like you got your not there, like
You
and
mentioned
they're
a
already
okay.
walking towards Renekton too, so like I felt like she could have done something there, but like near in the end there, like I was feeling like yeah, would be really dangerous to try to do that, especially with everyone already walking away. So be
Yeah.
over the wall, yeah,
No,
probably would have
you're
been.
spot on. And basically they walked themselves into a checkmate. Right? They kind of moved their pieces in a way where suddenly they they're Renekton, this major piece that's supposed to be able to like drop the hammer to the anvil. Like if the four of them are the anvil, he's supposed to be the hammer, and he's supposed to be able to crunch you in between. But he instead retreated, and that left the whole team in a problem. Now Zeri
Yeah,
could force the issue specifically with Nocturne Ultimate
could she
hiding.
with her build currently? Like I seeing the major tanks there, like those are the two issues for me that I can't, because like otherwise I would think like you would just have the Renekton just flash into the enemy team and just W the wave, especially with that stopwatch or not W the wave, W one person with a stopwatch, have Nocturne ultimate. Because we were talking about before earlier how it gives Zeri a lot of just not priority momentum. It was something that they give Zeri, but it gives her a lot of just leeway to move around because it's harder to see her and everything,
The
especially with
Nocturne.
how fast she is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nocturne.
absolutely, absolutely, and this is
And
true
you
with
could like
any AD
dodge
carry.
those two, you just slaughter the team. But because of their beefy front line, that I can't see her chunking through. I
From
remember I saw her fight one later on in the game, and even then she was still a struggle for her. And right now, I think the Scion has the 30% reduction item on Zeri, so
yeah,
even less of damage on him. So I feel like
and
unless they like right here, they're all perfectly on top of each other for that ultimate Q Hurricane Titanic to proc off, but they're not taking advantage of that. So I can't see it do anything.
right. Well, this is the missed opportunity, right? This is where they had to make it happen with just before this, really, honestly, right?
Hmm.
Like here, they just needed to commit, turn off the lights, and force T1 to stay in this area.
Like
And then
T1 could have died here if they forced it, right? Do you think?
if
Or
this was LSB's best chance, yeah,
okay,
for
but
sure.
I'm also thinking earlier, like Gumayushi, instead of queuing the Baron with the Chakram, he could have set up the turret line right in that bush, like on the pixel bush there, to prevent them from trying to push up too much. Yeah.
You mean in the this dot bush?
Yeah, like you're perfectly gonna be able to like keep them off of you, especially with how the chakram and the sniper works.
Yes and no.
Hmm.
Zeri, fundamentally broken. She's the one champion that can auto attack into bushes without vision. So she
True.
she
Yeah.
actually always clears the
She
gun.
still does need to get in range to be able to hit it though. Yeah, with one of them, so it gets off at least one in my opinion.
Yeah, well, her Q outranges the range of the gun. That's the problem.
Yeah, but the gun isn't activated until someone gets in the range of it, so it's untargetable until then.
Oh, okay. All right. I see what you
Yeah,
mean. So as they're approaching, or just trying to, okay. I mean, you can get a shot off. It will cost Guma 10 bullets to do
yeah, and
that,
he already
though.
used that on the Baron though. But I
Okay.
guess that is to just I think it already sped up his Trocums, so
Okay.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I would have thrown at least just one turret down there to like try to dissuade them for like one momentary second, but I think
Okay.
the one on the Baron is a lot better.
Okay. Um,
But yeah, no, back to the what you were saying about like how because I definitely feel like they could have jumped them here or something.
this has to be your best opportunity, right? You've got the gold lead. Waves, unfortunately, T1 is way better at wave management than anyone else in the league. And they're one of the best in the entire world. You'll notice that, like, even if a fight breaks out right here, bot lane's already pushing, mid lane's got the push, and top lane's fine. So even if they lose this fight, they're not going to lose the game. And if they win this fight, they might win the game, right? That this is what the
Right.
wave
Yeah.
management conundrum ends up coming down to. So, anyways, they survive. Renekton misses his chance to come in. From this point on, there's basically nothing left to do but retreat.
Yeah. Like as soon as that like they push their neck to now, you gotta get out. Otherwise, this is gonna happen because Nautilus doesn't have that you
Yeah,
know escape ability at all, in my
not
opinion.
well. Not needs to
Except
use
for the
that Q.
Q.
Yeah, he needs
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
use. Basically, the call needs to be immediate, and it needs to be I need to get out right
Yeah.
away. So if that's you on Zeri, right, just get over the wall, like show the signal to everybody. All right, if the call is retreat, we're retreating, and hopefully cue the people. If you're the best player on your team and you want to take that like captain role and show them like, all right, yeah, no guys, we're out, 100% out right now. Generally, you want to still be dealing damage, but like in that situation, the call has to be hard retreat, right?
Yeah. Like it would have been worth it here for the not to flash in earlier at least, right? To try to get a Q ult off with the Nocturne ult and everything.
He could have done anything, honestly. I
Yeah.
think I think he was surprised, and this probably speaks to them having cluttered voice comms.
Uh.
Most likely, it's like we can go in, no, we can't, something like that. Two different people saying, expecting Renekton to go in, but he's like, I can't. It's like, but we need you to. Wait, no, you got to retreat. Like those kind of messages can get really obfuscated.
Yeah. Definitely feel that a lot with in general. Especially like they have two stopwatches too for that moment. They could have done so much.
So here we go. We ended up picking up the Kraken Slayer. Now Kraken Slayer is going to help the damage tremendously. This
Oh yeah,
Triforce build is
definitely.
a little bit low in general, but you see again how they move up for energy. But this is the difference between Zeri and these big team fights. We're going to talk about the positioning on the teams coming up to this.
Yeah. Okay, now I know. Okay, I remember earlier I was thinking why Gumayushi didn't just flash towards Faker, but it's because he had no idea Faker was gonna be there. Most likely with the Nocturnal.
You know what Medio says about Nocturne?
What?
He says, I just screen watch. I just like on stage he'll actually lean over and look at his teammate's screen if he has any doubt. He just, he's just like, if I get lost, I'll just peek over there and like, yeah, all right. And he said I even played off of their screen once. I literally like went over and just clicked on things as using attack move. Just looked at their screen to see where they were and cast spells into the fog. It was
Oh,
like
that's
it's so good. Like that's an incredible level of insight.
there's no way that was that allowed?
I mean, it's allowed. They're next to each other on stage.
That's
They
crazy.
yeah. The only thing you're not allowed to do is look at the other
Look at
team's
this.
screens. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
in the LCK they put people into boxes before so that they could put the big screen up behind everyone. But
Yeah.
players would start like turning around, especially. Then they had to put people in sound chambers because the crowd would start going oh like when something was going to happen, and you'd hear that on your microphone. It would pick it up, and you would be alerted to the fact that there's potentially danger in the bush that you're about to go to, right? Like,
Yeah.
something. So there's a lot of measures that they have to do it in pro to do that. You won't have to deal with those for a while unless you blow them away, man. Which I'm confident for.
Here's hoping.
Okay, so you were talking about um, the position. Now this is Nocturnal going off, and this is where you said it's tough as it's happening to know where to go. So if you're Guma, you probably already need a plan as far as where am I going to reposition. And as a team, you can try to communicate which position to hold because as we know, kiting away from enemies is not the solution. Right? We've
Yeah, you gotta
we've
kite
worked
towards your teams. I
right.
remember you told me that.
Right. So we're kiting radially around the fight, and if he was able to jump into this bush and then like slide around back to the Azir, he actually would have been okay. Right. But basically lost track of it. Ended up trying to just flash away.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like you didn't see the TP before, but even then, I think you might be able to see the animation of the teleport or something. But definitely, I didn't. If the Nocturne was there and just hit it, like, yeah, I would probably do something like this, flash in there, or at least over the wall to try to put a little bit more space. But I think they also have their flashes up to follow him.
over the wall has a big problem with Nocturnal though. You
Yeah,
can't see anything on the way back. It doesn't matter
yeah,
who like you just won't be able to see anything. So even if you jump over the wall, you won't be able to shoot. So that's one of the tough things about it. And that's why largely it's about having a plan like how are we going to address Nocturne? How are we going to address Renekton flank? And how are we going to interact with Nautilus coming straight at us? Those are basically the three
definitely.
options. And
And
as
but I feel like he needs that like moment to breathe, to just get out. Because right now you see they're jumping on him immensely, and he doesn't have a moment to do jack
yeah,
mostly.
there is something that their team missed. There is a trick. Anytime that you're fighting in and around bushes, remember how we talked about having that one control word for that moment?
Yeah,
This is one of those moments where if you just get the control word in this bush, they will lose vision of you and they won't be able to cast targeted spells. Or just you might be able to juke one more ability. And so it's the wherewithal to have that in the moment is very very difficult. But
mhm,
if it's a skill that we practice, then we know. But largely, this is about preparing for the fight that's coming. Guma's plan suboptimal. Ends up just moving away from everybody, which allows the engagers to run away from the follow up damage while killing Aphelios. So this is a fight where Teddy plays it much better than Guma does. All right,
yeah,
and largely it's Nocturne diff, paranoia diff in pro.
definitely. The Nocturne hurt immensely, and also the Ari got so many good charms off too. I know they were talking about that.
Yep, two max range charms. It's actually worth noting. Azir tried to WE, but
Yeah, the char.
because he locked himself in that animation for an eighth of a second, it was enough for the charm to reach him. It wouldn't have if he had kept on running.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? Isn't that like nuts how that little bit can matter? All right, not your job, but as Gragas, what is Gragas trying to do here?
Oh yeah, this was also one of the other plays. I think he's just trying to clear the wave really quick and try to get them off his turret.
Yeah, and he should be willing to use health points to do it. He doesn't want
Yeah,
to go so far away that the turret won't be able to back him up. But with Yumi on his back, he certainly has the tools to just W and E
yeah,
into
especially.
into these, and we're gonna
Yeah,
see.
and then later on too, it also like he did something that really confused me.
So he ended up giving up more than they needed to. They're
Yeah,
not really waiting for cooldowns, but you can see how tanky he is. Like this is all three
yeah,
people
like
hitting
he's
him,
also doing a good amount of damage. Yeah.
and this is the problem we saw right here. This is you probably noticed this the very low amount of damage from this Triforce build against tanks specifically.
Mhm.
So you're doing massive like backline access. You're hitting them with all this, but I actually think the Triforce has a huge weakness, and this was it. It won't matter anymore. Bloodthirster is the item if you want maximum damage, because it gives you that huge damage buff, right? Um,
Yeah, only when you're
and
like well, or not full, but like 80% health or 70, something like that.
let me get
I
the
hope.
number up.
Yeah, I do not like the new Bloodthirster simply because of that caveat. Like I understand like it's nice, but personally for me as an ADC, I'm almost never above that health. I'm always trying to fight.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
no, it is above. It's when you're above 50%. So while you're full health, you deal tons of damage.
okay, yeah, yeah.
And
I just
Bloodthirster,
feel like that little because like in the middle of a team fight, that drop in damage is gonna confuse me so much.
yeah, it's more about like your job. If you're getting hit, it's basically already too late, and it doesn't really matter what items you have. with the
Right.
exception of their team having multiple dives and you have a stasis effect, right? This being able to deal more damage up front is massive over time. And this game actually boils down to the fact that Aphelios goes 5 items and Zeri goes Guardian Angel. We already saw that she was missing out on some damage in these opportunities against tanks, but she's going to go Guardian Angel next, and Aphelios is not. And that's, you're going to see a massive swing in the difference of damage later.
Hmm. I feel like he could have killed them there, could he not?
He could have, yeah. He dashed in and then Ari charmed, and he thought that he had to get away from it. He actually could have dashed over it, and his E flash would have literally killed both these champions.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yep.
Just making sure.
All right, so I will give LSB some props. After they lost that Baron, they did go take the Dragon and the midwave immediately, so they did get something back. They didn't like dally and say, "Oh shoot, we lost. Let's just all retreat."
Right. Yeah.
First, they went and got things before backing off. So that part's good for them. This right here, also kind of a wasted stopwatch. Panic, right? Like this shows how panicked he was, because
What
that
do you think he
stopwatch,
should have done then, or like, because I was thinking that too. Is like, when would be the optimal time to stopwatch?
when they're dealing damage to you. Right now, literally no one was dealing anything. So I think he saw the Ari and he's like, "Oh shoot, I have to stopwatch." But there was actually no one hitting him here.
I was thinking he was trying to use it for the ultimate at the last second, but yeah, I get you.
I don't see it. Is there? If you see something, then I believe it because my eyes are not as good as yours.
No, because I'm just watching the not run towards him.
Is that what he's looking at?
Yeah,
Okay.
like that's what I thought at least. Because
Okay. All right. So he's trying not to get knocked up. There it is. You're right. He is. So he is framing the nocturnal or the Nautilus ult, and so yeah, that's actually fine. I missed that. Good eyes. I
okay,
will rescind that comment. If because getting knocked up probably means that he gets
yeah,
charmed
would
and chain CC'd,
get
etc. etc.
chunked really fast.
So that's totally fine. Okay, we'll skip that one then. Good eyes. You got it.
Yeah, but nah, like I never know what to do exactly as the whenever I'm playing against an because like I do remember every now and again that he can like I do a decent job at keeping out of his ultimate range, but the moment he cues a teammate, that is like what just happened to him happens to me a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking like maybe because like I could not have seen like when to use that stopwatch better. Like maybe to flash, just get a little chunk of damage on
No,
Ari and then
it's fine.
stopwatch.
Yeah, the stopwatch is fine. The what you're banking on at that point is that Nautilus has used his entire bucket on one trick, and then you
Hmm.
just need to position yourself really, really well for the rest of the fight. And
Yeah,
Nautilus
less
won't.
than
He's got no more lockdown. Well, he's got his auto attack, but the Q and the R, the major tools for finding you
yeah.
at distance, are gone. And so that's what he can use. Also, a lot of these champions bring cleanse, right? You're not going to be able to cleanse the knock up, but you can cleanse the auto attack, the root,
I see.
and
Okay.
things like that. And it's all for these late game team fights, right? Like the cleanse scales harder than any other rune for carries because it ensures maximum uptime for your damage.
Really, even the ghost?
Well, Ghost is incredible, but like if the enemy team has a point and click ability that gets you, Ghost is
Okay,
not going
yeah.
to save you.
Right.
All right, so this is what we were talking about with Guardian Angel. Zeri on 5 items. Unfortunately, GA super low damage output. Right
Yeah, I don't. Why did they get that here? Like, I mean, they're not. I mean, like, maybe to be a little more dangerous and risky, but that
against
damage the tanks. Yeah.
against this team, it's wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
if you're the Aphelios, you could make an argument because of the Nautilus Nocturne and Renekton. Right, like there's 3 people that have backline access to Aphelios. Zeri doesn't need to worry about that. She's the safest carry in the game. I
Yeah,
would
100%.
I would even rather see a Zonia's than a Guardian Angel, honestly. Just to like be able to choose when to put it out and not just have to die. Like, and she's got AP ratios. It's not like she doesn't benefit from that. But either way, we're gonna see the difference in damage coming up. And this is 4 item Aphelios versus 5 item Zeri, and Aphelios is still going to outdamage her. And his flamethrower, it's like he's got the Runans set up already, right? Like
Right.
this is just the level. Now here we go. They reach a
Yeah,
little bit.
here, I felt like if Nocturne ulted just a little bit sooner, that flash over the wall would have been easier to or harder to spot from him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Hex Slash, I mean. But I don't know like how they're supposed to use the Nocturnal optimally.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not really going to stick much about it because it's such a like precision play. They're just kind of fishing. They're trying to get cooldowns.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they just gave up extra ones, and because that they don't have those, Ariel is down, Nocturnal is down. Um, we're looking at Hex Slash cooldown. They basically have to give up this dragon. All right, totally fine to give this up, but basically they fished. They didn't find. I'm not going to hold like a huge complaint to that. The biggest thing I wanted to go over was that wave state. All that full like 3 minutes prior to Baron, you could like really see how tempo changed based on what Zeri did.
Oh, definitely.
Right? And when she held the wave, it allowed her team to be strong. When she shoved the wave, it created weakness, right? Because you're just giving the enemy team 10 extra seconds, right? You're just like putting it in the bank. For yourself, when you hold the wave, you're saying, okay, like, what are you guys gonna do? What are you gonna do? What I get to choose when to push this. You don't get to have a say in this. All right, I push it now as my team is getting strong, and suddenly enemy team doesn't want to come up and face check even the wave because they're worried that there's
Right.
a Nocturne and a Nautilus behind them. So that's the stuff I wanted to go over more than anything. Is there a game that you have that we can look at one of these instances, or you had like a question, or do you want to?
No, none of the games that I've been a part. I actually had to do a decay game today. I still need to get back to that. I've been focused a lot more on school and catching up with everything
Yeah,
instead of bleed.
yeah, that's gonna happen. What are you at 0 LP or?
Oh, no. I'm actually just above 100 right now.
Oh,
So
nice, nice.
yeah.
The yeah, that's gonna happen. Especially, are you in like summer courses right now?
I mean, I guess technically, yeah. It's just try semester. So
Oh, okay, right.
yeah. Yeah, we just had the midterms recently, so now I'm gonna be having some more time to focus up on league and stuff.
Nice. That you should get a little bit of a spike. It looks like your new second half of the semester will align with the reset of the ranks. I think that's coming in 2 weeks.
So all the ranks are gonna be reset again.
Yeah, they're trying this for the first time, where they get a second climbing split, and unfortunately, it means that like the game's just never going to be balanced. Like
Well, that'll be interesting. I guess
it's
I should just focus on because I've been with the new items and everything. Like definitely, I feel ADC is so much more stronger now. But I got no clue about it all. So I've just kind of been messing around as support and just watching the ADCs go and seeing what they build and all that. And even
okay.
then, it's still just it's a cluster.
Well, I mean, there's spots. I think the majority of supports in the LCS now are ex um, other laners. Treats was a mid laner. Well, Afram was retired, but he was an AD carry. Sven was an AD carry. Core JJ was an AD carry. So like you bring those mechanics and you come over and you know what the marksman wants, and you're able to like give them what they want.
Yeah, but I want to play marksman. I don't
I
want to
know,
play support.
I know. It's going to take some work. You're going to have to show teams that you try out for that you know this shit, right? And this is what you're bringing to the table because it's so hard for AD carries to show out, and in tryouts, it's so hard for you to win your role unless you're Uzi and you're gapping your lane opponent every single time. It's very very difficult to see the contributions of an AD carry,
Definitely, yeah.
right? But we can see it in this game, right? Like this
Oh,
stuff,
immensely.
Teddy threw away good spots and forced his team into a bad position by going south. That was a game changing thing. Whereas Guma kind of played perfectly, except for that fight by the Nocturne, which is insanely complex. Right, there's so much to go, and that really requires team planning. But on an individual level, you can ask your support to have that ward for that bush, and you can try to move over towards your Azir to peel for you. Those are the like two things that were left on the table for the Aphelios.
Mm.
I want to point out something here. Faker, kind of a marksman, or Azir, kind of like a marksman. The job of a tank is that this flash is the best flash I've seen across the world so far this split by Gragas, not the Azir one. Az- Azir did it as well, but the fact that Gragas jumped in, forcing Nautilus to collide with him, intercepting the crowd control from an actual threat, this is the, like, you can ask your teammates for this, and it,
Ah, no, 100%. This is the kind of like flashes that I try to do is that not support and like
oh,
strive to see in a game. Because the moment that's done for me, that's when I know like I can actually just play however I want. Because for most of
right,
the time with the team, it's like yeah, I'm trying to play how I want, but I'm also like making sure I'm in a place where I'll be safe at and where I can deal damage, but it's not like where I can deal all the damage I know I can because like I don't feel like I got that safety that the team can provide if they just like will like that will just no matter where I am at they will just jump in the way of danger to keep me
right.
alive.
Yeah, who's going to step in
Like
front of
right
a
there
bus
at
for
that
you?
moment, 100% I feel like Faker can just run into the enemy team and no one's gonna touch him like with his team defending him like that. That feels so good.
Right? So, I mean, I want you to picture this moment and, like, see what it's like. And a lot of times, what you can do as a marksman is go back and check your. You record a lot of your games, right? You've been streaming some?
No, I've just been streaming a lot of variety content. I haven't
Oh,
actually been
okay.
recording the rank games. I haven't been too much like I haven't been playing too much League at all recently. So
If if you're streaming and recording yourself, here's the thing that you can get by watching your own VODs. How are you clicking in this situation? Right? How quickly are you realizing that there's actually an opening? And that's the thing that you can work on a micro level. How quickly are you able to, like, let's say you're panning up your screen because you're getting ready to move up, you're retreating, right? You're faker, you're Azir in this case, or even Aphelios, you just flashed backwards. How quickly do you realize that the call is actually to go forwards? Watch Faker. All right, we're going to talk about him right here. So watch from his flash. Boom. One click is all he used. He went up one step, and then he saw that Zeus flashed in front, and he turned back around. That difference in damage uptime is the difference between unlocking, like, the maximum amount of DPS. Right? Like, he flashed and he took one step, and then he
yeah,
realized,
100%.
I can take this. And like you said, it requires trusting your team. You know, this Gragas, you know, Zeus made the play of the game right there.
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
it's so incredibly good.
That
But
felt so good to see.
you want to know that, like, if you're in a solo queue game, let's say that guy flashes in front and you're the carry and you just walk away. What's the narrative then? Oh, Gragas inted. You're like,
Yeah, no,
see how
100%. If
the
that ever
difference?
happens in an actual game for me, I would go ballistic.
that'd
Because
be
it's like
that'd be sick.
someone jump in front of me like that. It's like, whoa, I didn't know that you actually did that here. Because no, like I don't want to hate on the league players, but recently a lot of them just have not been shown that they know how to play the game.
This is a
Ugh.
very very complex thing. Like, there's a reason I'm calling this the play of the game in a game
Oh
with
yeah,
Zeus Faker.
100%.
Like, it even at the pro level, it doesn't happen like that all the time. But you saw Faker capitalize. Boom, he's there, right?
Yeah,
And
the moment you have that leeway to just do what you want,
yeah,
like you can run away with it. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking to myself, oh, wow, I wish my team would, like, I don't want to tell them, hey, play for me, like, do this, so I can actually run into the entire enemy team and be fine.
mm-hmm.
But like, at the same time, that would be the absolute ideal to have.
Look at, oh, the thing's right there. Look at this moment.
Yeah,
I'm
because
just
like
gonna
if
leave
he
it right
knew
now.
that the Gragas was gonna flash right in front of him, he could even flash to kill closer. Because I don't think he had any the charm up still, because he just used it.
Right, and he certainly didn't need to flash, right? But
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
it's like that level of communication to see that spell and anticipate that your team's got it. He kind of has to flash, and even
yeah, yeah,
then,
100.
positioning yourself here for a fight here is totally fine. But
Yeah,
largely today was all mental exercise. I wanted to go over the macro and then show you this and have you visualize the exercise I want you to do is to actually just close your eyes and visualize this play where you are the one capitalizing on this effect and see it so that you can picture the minimum amount of clicks it takes to escape and then the maximum number of aggressive motions possible.
Yeah, like this. This is so beautiful. Like, nah, I'm gonna be doing some more league recently. I'm gonna hope to give you some good news because it's been the first time I actually managed to get above. Not the first time, but like this season split, whatever you want to call it. It's been the first time I've been over like 100 LP. So
Yeah, no, you're getting there,
hopefully,
man. It's sick. It's good to see you climb.
hoping just 600 more to go. Yay!
I mean, it's not as hard as it used to be because of the
Oh,
25.
100%. Yeah, nah, I'm sad. Because I was getting 25 per win, but now I'm getting 22. So it's like, dang it.
Yeah, but
I'm thinking it's because I've been away for too long, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah. It tends to choke you a little bit at the top if you haven't been on top of it. Last thing before we wrap it up, I'm just going to show game ending technique. Okay, first off, to recognize A with the death timers, 100% this is an ending window.
Hmm.
But importantly, look at the rolls. Gragas can take some turret shots. Decent attempt by Willer to try to clear the wave, flashing in, getting a tether. And I think he didn't actually get the maximum off as far as total amount of damage to the wave. But they're trying to kill wave. But at this stage in
Yeah,
the game,
100%.
level three item tank doesn't care.
Yeah.
So
Is it the turrets like? I know that they take reduced damage unless minions aren't there, but if a minion dies while it's around it, isn't there like a 2-3 second window where you still do like the maximum damage?
it's a small window. Like
Yeah.
right
Okay.
here, you could see for a moment that they still hit for full health. But like
Yeah.
even this, like 4 item carry with Bloodthirster, like yeah, you still just rip through it.
Like no,
And
100%. Like it was demolished. But like I also wondered about this. Like why is he using his the AOE attack right now when like there's no big point into using it
I think he
for the
just
turret?
wants to have the spray. Well, you know what? He wouldn't want it to touch the enemy guy. I don't know. I don't know
I mean,
if
like
he.
I no, because someone else is already tanking it. Like I feel like he would want to touch it, but like I feel, unless the other gun is like low on ammo or something, to use the other gun first, and then like CC them when they come up, and then when the minions are up, then you would swap over to the AOE Inferno. But
Yeah. Well,
like it's a really small thing that I was just wondering because like maybe the different guns have like different attack speeds or something. Because I know the Infernum gun looks a lot faster than the other gun, so maybe that's why.
I will say I haven't kept up with the minutia of Aphelios, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
that's
trust
why I was just like wondering and
I would
try to
trust you
kind of.
more if you had like 50 recent games on Aphelios on that. But my number one thing that I would say is he has to make sure that flamethrower doesn't accidentally hit somebody because
I mean, like,
he doesn't want to
yeah.
take the turret aggro.
But
Is
no, it's already on someone else. Wait, it
well,
won't transfer to him, yeah?
yes it will.
It transfers now?
Well, it transfers if the other guy's not dealing damage. So let's say
Huh.
let's say the Sunfire is active on Scion touching Nocturne. Then you're fine because Scion has drawn champion aggro. But if we back up to the point right here where Scion's taking both turrets, okay? Now it looks like yeah, so he hasn't dealt any damage to these guys yet. Even though both turrets are on Scion, if you hit one of them, they will swap to you.
I had no idea that was a thing. Thank you
Yeah.
for letting me know.
So the moment one of your champions takes damage, though, you're okay. Or sorry, gives damage, right? So if Scion, and he can do it with Thornmail, he can do it with Jackshow, he can do it with Sunfire. You can see all three of these actually grab aggro. It's kind of worth noting that for this ending scenario.
Hmm.
Because he has 3 items that all grab aggro, he's happy to hold aggro. He knows he will hold aggro, and the whole team knows he will hold aggro. And so at this point, it's just like, okay, you just burst Willer when he does come in, and Scion's never going to give up the aggro in this position
Right, 1000%.
because of Sunfire. So that's everything. Do you have any questions?
Only question right now is like, because I completely forgot already. What happened? Like, how did they get into that position? How did Zeri end up dying? Like, what was the
The
last team fight that happened before
This
this?
was the Gragas play. So
Over in the top side, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, what exactly happened up there to make it? Okay. I think.
right. This was the chase down that happened because Gragas flashed, and they basically got to keep Teddy in range. Okay, so here he is feeling confident about dealing the damage, and he
Mm-hmm.
was good until Gragas stepped into that hook, because then Nautilus pops, and now you're in this front to back situation with no front. Okay, and in part, Nocturne is trying like just looking at the position. They're inverted. right?
Yeah, so do you
Red
think
team is
Nocturne should
south.
just make a mad dash towards the mid lane to try to clear the waves instead of
If
trying to help them up here?
well,
Because
right now, well, oh, Nocturne to clear the wave. Yeah, Nocturne should clear the wave, and
okay,
that
yeah,
would be their chance of not losing the game here.
okay.
But the instinct is like, let me try to help Zeri. There's no more helping. Also, these motions, Zeri's putting herself to a wall that there's no
Oh,
run
she got
from.
hit by the CC there too,
But she did
and
go cleanse.
cleansed way too early.
So here's the problem. She's trying to win this fight, not realizing that they don't have any resources left.
Yeah, wait, did she E?
Yeah, she went E flat, E,
Oh
R flash,
no. Like I can understand winning the wanting to win the like
right there.
I don't know. I can't I don't see this build working.
It's not. Well, you don't need to worry about it anymore because
Yeah.
Sheen interaction's gone.
Oh,
Um,
okay, that's good. So I'm glad
so
I don't have
yeah,
to
we don't need
think
to think
about
about it.
that. It's like
But
I'm up to Mary. Like she's
it
super fun.
the mentality here, like it's very hard to recognize that you're not winning. Right?
No, like
It's
like I get that. Yeah, like after the like in some situations it's very difficult, but like when I feel like when you're on this side of the map, when you're about to walk into your enemy's turret, like you gotta get out.
yes, yeah. So this is a miss by Teddy. The kiting needed to be towards this wall, and then just get out of
But
dodge.
again, yeah, like with the ultimate, like I feel like yeah, you feel really strong with it. So
And honestly, if she didn't have GA here, if she had Bloodthirster, Zeus would be dead. And
mm.
this would be a different conversation. It would still be bad because of Gumayusi's health advantage.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to do as much
Right.
probably in the mid side with the Gragas just slamming the inhibitor turret.
And Zeri, at this point, this fight's been going on for like 18 seconds. She probably has 30 stacks on her ult, like
No,
the
didn't she
extra.
just use it?
Oh, you're right. She just used it right there.
Okay, okay. I was
Okay.
about to say yeah, because was it up earlier? Like yeah, the the GA doesn't even do anything.
Yeah, GA is doing nothing here.
Yeah,
This
she just uses it here instead of like when was it down when the knot got caught or the knot caught?
It's tough because the replayer often won't show it.
Yeah.
It
No, no,
looks
no.
like
It looks like
it's still on
yeah. This was
cooldown.
also one of those fights that was so weird to me because they put themselves in like a weird position instead of just jumping the Renekton Nocturne.
You talking about T1? What they should have done?
Yeah. But like,
This
I
is
mean, it works
fine.
out for them in the end, right? So.
This is fine because of the people who are dying. They don't care,
Mhm.
right? Frontline taking damage, they don't care, and Renekton and Nocturne are far enough away that they get to front this damage. So even though someone like this is what's called inting for your team,
Mhm.
you're fine to soak this up. You'd rather not die, obviously,
No,
but
no, I meant
like
like before like there was a little bit before this fight, like right here in this section, like they could have just jumped those two, yeah. Or actually, no, I
not
forgot
really.
what the hell that is.
It's a little too far.
I feel like
So
there was like a lot more where it was just different, and I felt there was a specific thing, but no,
uh,
like around here, I was like I wasn't thinking too much about the sound def because like yeah, like you said, the engine for the team and all that.
and right here,
Big props, big props.
I will give T1 huge props. Now this is another mistake if you're LSB,
Mhm.
right? They have to consolidate right here. And T1 does a fantastic job wedging in between them. And what they're banking on is that what T1 is banking on is that they have better health bars. Even though Sion died, you have more of these people that are at 60, 70% health. And so even though you're only four champions, you're actually about the same total health. And in fact, they have more total health. But Nautilus will be able to int for a glacial proc, and that will
Mhm.
be enough to like help them swing the fight. But this is a very very difficult thing to spot in the middle of a fight as it's happening. Like, wait, didn't we just kill them? Why are they taking aggressive actions? Wait, shoot, we're split up. They could have tried at this point in a desperation attempt to just get here.
So you think they all just pincer on the Graggers, or would they try to pincer on the Guma?
Yeah, onto Guma. You're basically going to say, like, we're going to jump over Gragas and get to Guma in the bush. But again, they don't actually have perfect vision. They don't see a Zero or Guma here. Look at the control word that was dropped in the middle of that fight, right? So you can see, like, they
Yeah.
actually denied some vision in the middle of these fights, and it makes a difference right there. Some tools are down. They dash in. Birdall's like, okay, I see my chance. But the rest of the team is moving out. And so he just dies for free. And from here on out, this is it. There's nothing. It has to be on full retreat mode. They should have skipped over. They could have progressed the game. Nocturne could just leave. Zeri can just go through the jungle, kill waves. They might even be able to go, honestly, right here.
Yeah,
You
like
can
to get the inhibitor, yeah, because
go
while
after the
their
inhib.
Ari's distracting them.
You won't get it. They will recall and stop you.
Yeah,
But
but at
like,
least like force them
sweet.
off. Maybe you can go for the bear
Yeah,
or something.
sweet. All right, you came back. You stopped me. We stemmed the bleeding at 2 deaths, maybe 3, right? And at least that way, the game's not over. But they end up continuing. Zeri takes way too aggressive actions, and they might have even been okay right here with Aphelios this far behind, if it weren't for the heroics of Gragas. So I mean, so fucking good.
Like right there, like I felt like that was an alt opportunity there if they're gonna try to fight that instead of just running away.
Did she actually? No, it's still down.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah, that's horrible then.
So
There's
this
no way they should. Okay.
honestly, and at this level, comms, they will know her cooldown, and they will be tracking. They'll say like 45 seconds left, and they'll
Mm,
know that it's coming up at 38:02, and they're gonna like have that mapped out for themselves and say, all right, we're good. She's got 15 seconds left on her ult. We can go. We can go. We can go. Right, like that's the sort of comm that happens at this level in those fights.
mm-hmm.
There was a famous one. Who was it that won World's Chinese team that won 3 or 4 years ago, and the call was just their Quicksilver is still down. We can engage, and that's it. Like that little timer, knowing that there's still 13 seconds left on the Quicksilver sash. That was enough for them to see an opening and win the game. I'm struggling, but it was like maybe it was a Varus flash ultimate onto whoever was here on the map, and they got the kill because the Quicksilver was down, and they were able to chain CC on the carry, and then they just
Right.
steamrolled mid.
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but I want to say it was a Chinese team against a Korean team in the finals like 4-ish years ago. But like, yeah, 100%, these guys are communicating those cooldowns at that level, and pretty like that's going to be something that we want to start putting on your radar, just actual cooldowns and memorizing, you know, that was used 90 seconds ago. You know, how much of a threat is this cooldown, that cooldown, really getting an eyeball for what still exists in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? Well,
Okay.
good stuff, man. This I was looking forward to showing you this video because there's so much to go over here, and I can tell that you are picking it up at a whole new level now. So I'm
Yeah, no,
excited
thanks so much.
to see it, dude. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep it surreal.